Good morning. Actually, it's good afternoon. I'm late, running late today. And, I think I need to say this in the interest of public safety. Don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional. Imagine the burden of getting dozens of emails over the course of 2 years. It's not for the faint of heart. It is time for the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update for this day, a Friday, December 15th in the year of our Lord 2023. And there's some stuff we got to get to. KK's Priest. KK Downing, of course, left Judas Priest and started his own imitation Judas Priest called KK's Priest. Well, they have teamed up with LA Guns for the Return of the Sinner tour in 2024. These will be the first dates of KK's Priest in the U.S. And I make fun all the time, but actually, they're pretty good. I mean, they're good. I mean, I'm going to take flack for this, but I'm going to say it. I hear a new KK's Priest tune. I hear a Judas Priest tune, a new Judas Priest tune. Can't tell a big difference. I'm just throwing that out there. The drumming sounds the same on both. But if you'd like to see KK's Priest in your neck of the woods, then March is the month. Throughout most of the month of March, they're playing in, they're doing the Monsters of Rock cruise. They're playing in Pennsylvania. They're in Florida. Looks like mostly the East Coast, but I'm sure we'll see more dates. What happens is when bands start a leg of a tour, dates tend to get added, right? So more dates will be added. So I think we'll see it grow from here. This is from KK. Quote, "It has been far too long. I'm very excited to announce that KK's Priest will soon have the honor of playing our first ever shows in the USA, starting March 7th, 2024. KK's Priest metal is coming to my dear home away from home. Quote, we will be very proud to bring you the finest British steel from England, where the embryo of this beloved music was conceived so many years ago. The sands of," this is KK, this is still KK, "the sands of time have moved so quickly for us, but I am sure we all feel incredibly fortunate to have been part of this nostalgic journey. I look forward to seeing everyone again. Rest assured that it will be blood and thunder with hellfire thunderbolts and much more. We promise to make history again together with you on this very special occasion." I'm fired up. I'm going to go see KK's Priest if I can. Sharon Osbourne had, and I'm not, this is not intended to make fun of or anything. This is a serious thing. She had a botched plastic surgery job. And she said, I felt like Cyclops. I had one eye here and one eye there, and my mouth was all skeweth. And then I had to wait for that to heal before I could go back and have it corrected. The 71-year-old wife and manager of legendary heavy metal singer Ozzy added that she had the procedures because of vanity, ego. "Oh, you look great for your age," she told the Times, according to CNN. "But I know what I really look like. When I look in the mirror, I see the real me." So I saw, and again, I'm not meaning to make fun of people. I saw Marlo Thomas. Remember Marlo Thomas, that girl? On YouTube, I happened to see a PSA for St. Jude's, which her dad's was always a big spokesperson for St. Jude's. Or was it Shriners? One of either I think it's St. Jude's. I saw this clip with Marlo Thomas. Why do people do that? They don't even look real anymore. And there's a lot of these plastic surgeons that just mess people up. And, good for the celebrities that are aging gracefully, that aren't having their faces sandblasted and their noses Marlo Thomas has a Michael Jackson nose. I mean, it doesn't look human anymore. So I wanted to draw that to everyone's attention that if you've been thinking about getting plastic surgery, don't. There's no shame in getting old. There's no shame in looking your age. Look at me. There's no shame in that. Okay, in a new interview with the SDR show, Dave Mustaine of Megadeth was asked how many Megadeth albums he thinks he has left in him. Here's his response. This is transcribed by blabbermouth.net. Quote, I was talking about that the other day. It takes 2 years between an album. Let's say it does if I'm able to put them out fast. It'll probably be 3 years. But let's just say it's 2 years and I put an album out. We've all got about a year left on this one. Okay, so 2022 is the sick, the dying, and the dead. So in another year, he's saying they'll start on another album. So that'll take us into 2025. We've got all kinds of anniversary tours that we're planning right now. Rust in Peace is going to be 25 years old, I think, or 30 years old next year, and all kinds of stuff like that. And then if we get ready to go into the studio, let's just say it takes a year to do that. That's 26, another 2 years. That's 27, 28. And then we go back into the studio. Again, we do 2 more records. I'll be 70 by the time 2031 comes around now. The 62-year-old musician continued, quote, now, do I think I'll be able to continue making music? Because of the advancement of modern medicine right now, stuff like med beds. Apparently, there's a conspiracy theory out there about these med secret beds that can miraculously heal humans and extend life. I hadn't heard that. And all of the crazy new developments that they've made for people with different chronic illnesses, me with chronic pain and with cancer, it's in remission. I don't act like, oh, poor me, because it's not poor me, man. I won. I effing won. I beat cancer, and I'm going to keep fighting to keep it outside the door. Say I do 3 records, and that's 9 years. It's going to be a while from now. I'm realistically thinking, what kind of shape am I going to be in my 70s? And I've got to tell you, I feel really good right now. I'm still rolling and still training and still doing my cardio and eating well, hardly drinking at all, and just taking really good care of myself. So I think unless something really wrong happens, I see myself living till I'm in my 80s or maybe 90s if I'm lucky. So he's not planning to stop anytime soon. I've always been a Dave Mustaine fan. I like him. I do. I like him. I was never a huge Megadeth fan, but I've always kind of liked him. And so I like his fighting spirit, and good on you for beating cancer and fighting that. And that's great. Roxy Music guitarist Phil Manzanera. I have a Phil Manzanera album from like 1986. I don't remember buying it. I think, you know what it was? I used to be a music director at a radio station, and music would get sent to me. And a lot of the times it was stuff that we wouldn't play on the station. So I'd take it home and listen to it. I'm pretty sure that's where I got Phil Manzanera. It's a really good album. I mean, it's mostly instrumental, but he's a guy, not a household name, but very talented guy. Phil Manzanera has announced that he will release his memoir, Revolution to Roxy, through Wordsworth Publishing on March 22nd. So if you're a fan of music books, music biographies, I think that'd be an interesting one. He's played with John Wetton. John Wetton, one of my favorite vocalists ever. John Wetton, David Gilmour, Pink Floyd, and of course he was in Roxy Music, and he's done his own solo stuff. Quote, before that, I need to say this. Revolution to Roxy also explores Manzanera's family history, dating back to the expulsion of the Sephardic Jews from Spain in 1492 via the 1959 revolution in Cuba and the discovery of a Neapolitan opera musician grandfather. He's got all kinds of stuff in his family tree. Quote, I've written this memoir for my English and Colombian family, dear friends and music fans who followed my musical twists and turns for over half a century. It's a memoir that spans my 50s childhood in Cuba, Hawaii, and Venezuela, when everything seemed in the brightest technicolor. Let me say that again. When everything seemed in the brightest Technicolor to monochrome, but very cool 60s London and the start. Let me read that again, okay? It's a memoir that spans my 50s childhood in Cuba, Hawaii, and Venezuela, when everything seemed in the brightest Technicolor, to monochrome but very cool 60s London and the start of a music career that continues to enrich my life. Roxy Music is an important part of the story, but I hope the reader will find my family history every bit as fascinating as my music adventures. I'm proud to be related to the most famous 17th century Sephardic Jewish pirate of the Caribbean, a British spy, and an Italian opera musician. That's quite the family tree. My family tree is full of rednecks. That's cool. All right. Here's my album that I want to share with you today. I bought this literally in the cutout bin. Kids, back in the day, record stores would have a cutout bin and they'd like cut the corner off. Does anyone know the significance of cutting the corner off? So this was originally priced, still got the sticker on it. I could have bought it brand new when it was released for $6.98, but guess what I paid for it in the cutout bin in like 1986? $1. Okay, so I got it for $1. This is Alcatrazz, No Parole from Rock and Roll live sentence. So this isn't just your normal No Parole from Rock and Roll. This is the live sentence. And there's the band right in Alcatrazz. They're not playing live from Alcatrazz, but it's a live sentence. Alcatrazz was it's not the first place we heard of Yngwie J. Malmsteen, Swedish metal master, but it was really in Alcatrazz that his star really rose. And, until he tried strangling Graham Bonnet, they had a pretty sweet deal going. But then he left and Steve Vai came in and replaced him. And anyways, and I've mentioned Graham Bonnet, dude, one of my favorite singers. And in fact, there's one of the episodes of the podcast, we interview Graham Bonnet. I would recommend you go check that out. He can still sing. He can still do it. He's like 75. He's probably 76 by now. But this is a great live album. And, Yngwie's playing is so over the top. Graham Bonnet singing, so over the top in a cool way. It's like when you go to Universal Studios and you watch the Stuntman show, right? That's what it is. Explosion. I mean, I'm not talking literal explosions, but that's what this album, it's like someone breaking out of jail with dynamite. Okay. It's awesome. And then they do some Rainbow songs on here. They do Since You've Been Gone. They do All Night Long. I mean, if you're a fan of Yngwie J. Malmsteen and Graham Bonnet and Alcatrazz, I mean, it's here. You need to find it. I don't know if you can still find it in a cutout bin anywhere, but if you can, you want to jump on that. Hey, you can email me, classicguitarrock@mail.com, classicguitarrock@mail.com. I would love to hear from you. Shoot me an email if you've got things you'd like to talk about, insults, whatever you got, send them. And also take a minute to follow us on X at Classic Guitar R1, at Classic Guitar R1. Thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you listening to us on the Well Classic Rock, thank you for joining us. We'll do it all again on Monday. Have a great weekend. Live long.